So it's been a minute, and as promised, I was going to bring you people that are interesting and people that I deal with on a daily basis in real estate and our market up here in the high desert. We got fortunate today. I think Mike knows a lot about a lot, especially with real estate. This is Mike Arias.
Or a little about everything.
Yeah, right. Mike Arias from Chicago Title. He's also a planning commissioner in Apple Valley. He's also a home builder. So there's a lot we can talk to you. And as always, the reason why we do these is to give, people watch the videos and they get the legal tidbits and things. But let me show you the people I rely on for advice and give you a little backstory into how I come to some of these conclusions. So, Mike, you're Chicago Title. You do a lot of the deals up here.
Yeah, I mean, depending on the year, but usually it's anywhere from either 1 out of every 5 deals or 1 out of every 4 deals, just up here locally. But remember the Chicago Title family of companies. We insure almost 1 out of every 2 transactions in the nation. So it's a ton of data, a ton of transactions. Up here locally, we're closing. It could be anywhere from 1,500 to 2,500 transactions a year, depending on the year.
So you're seeing it.
Tons of transactions.
And you're seeing the realtors, and you're seeing the brokers.
Yeah.
You're talking to escrow.
Yeah.
You're talking to the lenders, and so you get a real feel for what's going on.
Yeah.
This isn't the same feel that I get from clients when they say, "Well, I'm just waiting for the market to crash," or "I'm just waiting for rates to go down." You're seeing what people are doing.
Yeah, we're actually watching the data, and we're watching it weekly, which is crazy. Just looking at the numbers here, which is wild to think. But this actually, I think it's today is the 6th anniversary of the COVID shutdown when they announced it. I think this day 6 years ago.
Get out of here.
So that's when I started doing the weekly report. We had a monthly report of the market update. Then we went into a weekly. I went into a weekly because everybody was locked down, right? Nobody could leave their house. Nobody could go see anybody. Yep. And I was going, shoot, what am I going to do here sitting at home besides sending emails out and trying to call people? Let's look at the market on a weekly basis to see what's happening. And if you remember, I was putting out reports going, hey, this market's heating up. And it was like May, right out of the right when the pandemic was kicking up, and people going, you're crazy, man. This whole place is shut down. The wheels are coming off. So, I said, this market's heating up, right? Transactions are happening. Pendings were happening. More and more activity were happening. So it's been, I think we're at what's a 52 times 6 has got to be close to 350, 400 reports I've done in the last almost 6 years.
Man.
Technically. Weekly reports.
And I watch those. So where do you get the data on that?
So most of the data is coming from the local MLS, and then my foreclosure data, of course, is all coming from county records. Notice a default in REO recording data. So again, it's coming from the MLS is coming from the input from the realtors, right? I mean, it's as they're logging actives, pending, solds. That's the data I'm looking at on a weekly basis. So it's pretty wild. Looking at market, the median home sales prices, looking at the trends of the pendings, how many homes are coming off the market, expired, canceled, withdrawals, average days on the market. And we're looking at what the market is doing on a weekly basis. So, obviously, you were in the car business or whatever, and I can never buy a car and make any money on a vehicle. Because that's not what I do. I don't know what to do. I always lose my butt on vehicles. But houses or real estate, I'm in that market. I study that market, and obviously, when you're in whatever market you're in, is usually the one you're going to do best at. And for me, real estate has been really well.
And so let's talk about that for a minute, because I always ask you, you have any houses going right now?
Yeah.
You got any going?
Yeah. So actually just paid the fees. It actually just came from the city of Hesperia right now, but school fees. Just wrote a check for $15,700 just for the school fees. So people go, okay, well, what is the cost to build a home or whatnot? Well, let's just look at the fees alone. It's pushing like $40,000 before you even put a shovel in the ground. That's just in fees, your development impact fees, school fees, road fees, permit fees, water meter. I mean, you're talking about all these different things, and it comes out to almost $40,000. Again, just depending on what city you're in or what town you're in, or if you're in the county districts. But it's crazy expensive.
No kidding. And are you negotiating those?
No, you can't. So, it's funny because on the Planning Commission, we've talked about that. And we talk about, for instance, let's talk about the school fees. And they say, well, if you want to go talk about school fees, then you need to go to the school board. Okay. What are the odds of that happening? I'm slim to none.
You don't need any more money?
Yeah, it's just like, what are we doing here? But we can't it's hard to negotiate because there's so many different fees and there's so many different departments, right? So it's not just you go to the city and want to negotiate your fees. There's too many different departments that are handling all these different fees.
And then so input costs, we got the fees. I mean, all the builders say the fees.
Yeah.
What about the raw lands? Raw land expensive right now? Is it
Yeah,
okay?
so what's interesting, if you remember back in 2005, the last upswing, an area over here in the Mesa, those lots were selling for $150,000, half-acre lots, 150 grand. Right now, they're probably, I think the most expensive one we've seen is maybe $120,000. So they haven't reached that peak yet, but the price of the home has jumped way past our last median home sales price, obviously. At that time, I think the median home sales price up here was like $250,000. Now we're at $440,000, let's say, and the lots haven't got that expensive. But they're hovering right now, half acre, any given city or Apple Valley, Hesperia, right around 100 grand-ish, And like that one I bought was a good deal. We talked about that. That one I got frauded on was, it was not a great deal. It was a good deal.
It was a good deal.
It was 82.5, and I was like, yeah, it's probably worth, 90-ish. So yeah, I'll take it. You know what I mean? So a wholesaler comes to me, and wholesalers are the ones, they're just calling around trying to find.
Is a wholesaler broker? Or
No, just a wholesaler. So they don't get a license or anything. They're just calling owners and saying, hey, do you want to sell your property? And they'll put a little bit on it, assign it over to the ultimate buyer, me in this case. And they'll make a little fee, 5, 10 grand, whatever it may be. So he's calling around, finds this owner and says, yeah, I want to sell my property, 82.5. So I'm going, okay, good deal. I'll buy it. Put it in escrow. Of course, we use, my title and escrow company or whatnot. Actually, no, it was a different independent escrow company. We did the title insurance. But what this guy did, and there's so much fraud going on right now, man, it's crazy because we had this transaction where these buyers or these fraudulent people will go in, the fraudsters will try to find a defunct corporation. So they have been paying their annual dues to keep their corporation in good standing.
They're suspended.
They're suspended, and the actual president of the corporation has passed away. So they're out there kind of looking for these scenarios. So this guy finds this property that I'm purchasing. And, for instance, the name of the entity was like American Standard Incorporated. So this fraudster creates this entity with American-Standard Incorporated. So as we're doing the transaction, escrow title, we're just looking at the name, looks good. Nobody's paying attention to the hyphen, one hyphen to the next. And what this guy did is he transferred it from that new corporation he created, which is his corporation, not the real original corporation, but the new one with the hyphen. Then he transferred it into his own LLC that he's had for years. And he sells it out. What's interesting about this is he waits a whole 8 to 12 months. And if you know about data, once the records update, when somebody's calling the owner of record, it's now updating to his cell phone number, like he's the real owner.
So he swiped it.
He swiped the property, basically, right? By creating this like name entity. And so we get the transaction, we close on the transaction, and about a week later, somebody reaches out and says, hey, that was my dad's property. He's been passed away for years. How did you guys close on this thing? And we're going, what?
Oh, man.
So we started looking at this deal, and obviously me, being in the title industry or whatever, to get scammed is just crazy ironic, right? But it's made for good videos, good social media.
Yeah.
So anyways, close on the deal. The guy blows the whistle on it, and we send it to our claims department. Now, our Chicago Title family of companies, we got $1 billion that sits in claims reserves, waiting for issues to arise, and they always do. I think the last number I remember was something like $150 million we pay out in claims reserves or something annually across the nation, right? Something massive. So anyways, this deal, it's only 82.5, on the grand scheme of things or whatnot, but, I call my claims department and they get the machine rolling. Where a lot of these, agents are involved in transactions, or not involved, but are advising clients, or even just friends and family. Oh, you don't need title and escrow, man. It's 10 grand. Just go ahead and sell the property. Go do a deed, just deed it over or whatnot. Had I have done that in this case, I would be the one hiring you to go and try to fight this guy and hopefully get a judgment for 82.5. I don't know how long that would take. I don't know what that would cost. But in this case for me, I just call the claims department and they're going to handle it all. I don't know when I'm going to get reimbursed. Hopefully within 90, 120 days, I would imagine. But if had I not been insured, I mean, hiring you to go do this thing would be
Crazy.
who knows how long it'd be.
Crazy. And that's something that's not known well. Like clients don't know what title insurance is. So
Yeah.
you want to just briefly just explain that?
So
You're not escrow. You're the insurance company.
and the deal stops with us. So in
Always.
other words,
Always.
everybody can be ready to close. The money's in, documents are signed, everything's ready to go. But if there's something that we don't like and we see, we're not going to close the transaction, and nobody's going to move forward on this deal. What's crazy about it is we insure the past. Auto insurance, homeowner insurance, all that stuff insures the future. We insure the past. So we are clearing the title for the new buyer. So anything the seller did while he owned the property, did he get any solar? Does he have any federal tax liens, state tax liens, judgments? The infamous child support always pops up. Always pops up at the last minute. Child support liens, how many loans did they take out? All of that stuff they did while they owned it, we are clearing the way for the new buyer to come on title. And if they have a lender, we are ensuring the lender is in first position. They want to be in first position because if the buyer stops paying, they have the right to foreclose and take their asset back. So we are clearing the way for that new buyer and the new lender. And that's what we do. We are insuring the past.
Right.
But like I said, notary fraud's a big deal. This vacant land fraud. We've actually closed on more other transactions too.
Now, on your deal, the notary was legit.
The notary was legit, and this guy.
That's special. Usually, it's the notary's in on it.
Yeah. And this guy actually thinks he did everything right. Now, the quiet title action, the adverse possession. There is a process to go through. Obviously, paying the taxes for 5 years, go through the quiet title action, and basically take somebody's property. You can do that, and the guy thinks he did everything right. What's crazy is he paid the 5 years in taxes, all of the close of escrow, and deeded into a like name entity. I was like, that is fraud.
That's right.
That you can't do.
You're right.
So, like I said, it's just it's a crazy deal. But in this case, for me, obviously, like I said, it's thankfully, I had the smarts enough to not go outside of a actual insured transaction. And hopefully get this thing resolved sooner or later.
That's the ticket. And I have to explain it to people all the time. It doesn't matter what I think about the title. It doesn't matter what the judge. We go to probate court and tell the judge, hey, I really need the order to look like this because I need the title insurer to insure it. Because that's crazy. It.
Yeah. And so that's what's so funny because I have conversations all the time where people go, well, this document was notarized. It's legit. It was recorded. Yeah, we understand that. We're not saying it's not legit.
Yeah.
We're just saying for us to put our name on this deal, we're the insurer. Here's what we want. And they go, no, my attorney said this or this, this, that. And that's what's so good is, we're talking to each other, on a weekly basis. You've been all the way up to the almost, second or third in command of my entire operation, trying to make sure you got the right documentation because and not every attorney knows that if we don't like it, all the work you just did is over.
It's over.
It's no good, and you just charge the client for a bunch of stuff that's not going to work.
It's not going to work. It's square biz. Yeah.
It's weird that you don't see more attorneys in more contact with title companies. Because like I said, you're out there filing all the correct paperwork that you think. But again, as the insurer, it's a totally different story. So that's wild, man. It's a wild game. It's a wild game of paperwork.
It is crazy. And so, basically, the best agents out there, they're reaching out to a title officer. We wouldn't call it officer.
Rep, yeah.
Title rep.
Representative, yeah.
Early.
That's how I get so much of my business sometimes is people selling dead people's property. That just means that you didn't get a prelim, right?
Right.
If you're an escrow with a dead seller, you probably don't have a prelim.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. There's so many of the older generation that's passing away right now. You would think more people, especially the kids, family, whatever, would try to hash this out earlier. Like, hey, mom and dad, I know probably nobody wants to talk about this, but we have to talk about this. I was talking to a very wealthy family up here. There's about 3 brothers or whatnot, tons of property. All their stuff is in their parents' trusts. They're not even in their trusts. And these guys are already, I think in their 80s or whatever. And I ask them all the time, I'm just like, hey, when are you guys going to hash this out? Or are you just going to let everybody fight this thing out for the next 30 years when you guys pass away? Because that's exactly what's going to happen. The more money, the more assets, the more of a disaster it is when you don't have it lined out.
You don't have it lined up,
It's crazy. You probably see it all the time with these people just fighting it out.
So now, okay, what's going on what's going on in the market right now? I mean, we were going to talk 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
I'm glad we waited.
Yeah.
Because,
There's been a few more missiles
yeah, what's going on?
flying. So leading up to it, it looks like, and from my report, I just finished it this morning or whatnot. It seems like leading up to it, the buyers backed off, right? All the talks were happening, people were backing off. So the pending started to slow down locally. And then the missiles went in the air, and everybody, we didn't see, I don't know, there was no turmoil here on the land.
Right.
They're okay, maybe it is all staying over there. They all freaking started buying again.
This week?
Last week, they all started buying again. Which is crazy. So, and like we just talked about, is interest rates pop up a little bit, and it happens every time. Leading up to the Federal Reserve's meeting to reduce interest rates, everybody kind of holds off. You see the market kind of pull back. And then the rate, all of a sudden, the Fed cut by 0.25%. And all of a sudden, these buyers jump in the market. But leading up to the rate cut, usually about 2 weeks beforehand, the actual interest rate for mortgages had already been dropping. But they wait to the meeting and the rate to pop up, and then they buy. So, I don't know how many videos I've seen. I don't know if anybody's watching them, but it's over and over and over. It's like, man, the time to buy or to lock your rate in is before the chair meeting.
Yeah, for sure.
Every time.
Well, look, they're trading the 10-year, right? They're trading the 10-year ahead of that.
Yeah.
The market, theoretically, right, is a forward-looking market.
Yeah.
They're going to say, hey, if they're anticipating something, they're either going to buy or sell bonds well ahead of the decision to lower a federal funds rate or whatever. And they've kind of been going in opposite directions. They've kind of been like lowering the federal funds rate, but the 10-year's kind of staying sticky high. And
before we started throwing missiles at each other, the rate was dropping.
It was down.
It was dropping and dropping.
I saw that.
It was doing great. And then, like I said, hopefully, this thing's a short-lived deal, and we see some better relief on gas prices and interest rates. Would be really nice. But the buyer's still buying, which is crazy.
The buyers, but this is selling season. Is this selling season?
Yeah, it's starting.
Okay.
We're moving into 90-degree weather, though, in March, so I don't know, it could be...
Are there price drops? I'm getting emails left and right for price drops.
Yeah, tons, yeah. We're seeing, on average, it's probably 60 to 70 price reductions weekly, which is good. These people are trying to overprice their homes still. They still think we're in 2021, lines out the door, buyers everywhere. It's just not the case. We have to be priced right. These things got to be competitive or they're not even getting looked at. So we're seeing constant price reductions. The problem is they could be $50,000 over market, but they're going to drop $5,000. And next week they're going to drop five. You know what I mean? Instead of taking that initial whack and getting it to where it needs to be. The market's not coming apart. The market's not deteriorating. The market's not even coming down. We peaked out at $442,500 for our median home sales price here.
That's a big number.
We're at $433 now. We haven't moved, and it's been like this for over 24 months. We've been so flat and steady. People just need to realize your property is not worth $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 more than your realtor just told them. And it's usually the home seller. The realtor is talking to their blue in the face, and they still have to go with what the seller wants to do.
Well, and that could create bag holders, right? Like for instance, this is what I'm thinking, right? Like if there's a price support at some level where a buyer goes, oh, if it falls to here, I'm in.
Yes.
It's not here, they're not buying your house, but there's a number.
Yeah.
But there's one, I just drove by it today in Spring Valley Lake. This guy's been on the market forever.
Yeah.
Now today, his neighbor's got to sign up.
Yeah.
His neighbor prices that right, sets the comp. It's not here, it's not here. It's now we're here because nobody has any money to close. It better appraise because I'm dealing with some challenging issues with appraisals coming in short.
Yeah. Yeah, we're seeing those two, which again, you got this nice home, you got the seller that wants that price. Some of these buyers are just going, okay, let's put it in escrow and let's negotiate it later because we got this hard-headed seller that still thinks this property is worth $1 million. Let's put it in escrow for $1 million, and when it comes back at $800,000, we're going to hammer that seller.
Yeah.
If not, we'll back out and go find another one because there's some inventory on the market. So we're seeing a lot of that happen. We're seeing a lot of these people go, okay, seller, let's put it in escrow. Let's pay for the appraisal, and once you see the actual data come back that it's not worth what you think it is, then we're going to negotiate that price reduction. So we see some price increases because they're going to add closing costs because it's a good price. But the majority of them price reductions because they're lowering the price or they closed lower than their original list price.
I tell you what, and this is a COVID phenomenon that popped up. Well, actually, I saw this in 06 too, but this is the weirdest thing. When I see a buyer working with the seller together to try to get the appraisal higher so they could close the deal. I go, what is wrong with this situation, man?
There's some interesting stuff. And I just saw one on the reverse of that where the buyer was related to the appraiser, and somehow the appraiser got to appraise their relative's home.
Dang.
And brought it in about $50,000 under. I was all, that's I don't know how that happens, but
I don't know how that happens either. That is so
There's
crazy.
Some wild stuff out there for sure.
So, what is there something on a house? I asked this the last time I was talking to somebody. But is there certain amenities right now, the way that demographics and society's changing? Certain things that are, you would say, are definitely like really advantageous to have in your home? Is it ADU? Is it RV garage? Is it a shop?
Yeah.
What's the stuff that people overpay for?
What's interesting is the two I just built. I finally said, let's put an RV garage on this thing. Let's attach an RV garage, right? And without the RV garage, just a 3-car garage, that house would probably sell for about $600,000. With the RV garage, I didn't run out the actual number of the cost of that extra RV garage. Might be $40,000-$50,000. That is bringing that home price to $700,000. So that RV garage is bringing in another $100,000-ish. Yeah, so the RV garages, like I said, they're bringing a ton of money. They brought, like I said, almost $100,000 more than what it should be valued at. But I have a builder that did build a home with an ADU and a JADU on that thing, and I want to say that thing sold for almost $1 million or $1.1 million, something crazy. But remember what's interesting about that whole ADU situation. The buyer can use that potential rental value or rental income to qualify for the purchase.
To pump it.
Which is wild.
And now you got ADU inside and separate.
Yeah.
More efficient to build it which way?
Well, if it's all connected
roof?
walls, one roof would be the ticket because you're not building a whole separate dwelling. You're not building a whole 4 walls. You should build 3 extra walls, kind of. Your plumbing is just getting extended, not to a distance. Stuff like that too, so that all helps with the situation. But yeah, to build it attached. And you got these families, multi-generational families moving in and stuff like that. So it's all kinds of situations where people want, my dad actually is building one that he put in the RV garage. There's a window sitting about 12 feet in the air or whatnot. And I was like, what are you doing with that? He's got some plumbing running up the wall and stuff like that. He's like, man, I could throw another floor on this thing and put a little mother-in-law quarters on top of this thing in the RV garage.
So it's real.
Smokes, yeah.
But so we're doing that to create capacity.
Yeah.
But you're not building multifamily. I see multifamily lots. They give them away. I mean, what's going on with that?
So I got one of my clients that's been in plan check, I think, or the whole stage, and trying to get his plans approved. I want to say he's on his 2nd year. And pumping money into this thing. I don't know how much money is in it, tens of thousands. I got another client, I want to say it was 16 units. I think it was 2 8-plexes, if I'm not mistaken. And I want to say they're on their 3rd or 4th, I think it's 4 years, and they finally got power. They're out millions of bucks. And they still don't have this thing occupied. They can't get anybody in this thing because they barely got power. Now they're trying to finish them up, and they'll hopefully start getting them rented here in the next month or 2, I believe.
They're never going to make their money back.
4 years into this thing. And I mean, who can stand that? I mean, unless you just have a ton of cash sitting there.
And it's not going to pencil.
It's not gonna pencil.
Was there more requirements? You can't build it the same.
Well, in the town of Apple Valley, we went through some stuff where we reduced parking to get more, or to get, it was like, what was it, 20 units per acre, I want to say, if I remember correctly, and so 10, 12 units for half acre, whatever it may be. Well, most people were only able to get like 7 or 8 units on there because of parking, trash requirements, common areas, all that stuff. So we reduced a lot of that stuff, trying to keep the integrity and quality in there to try to get them closer to like that 10 unit number for half acre, or closer to that 20 unit per acre is what the idea was. But I mean, if you can't get close to that max number, I mean, shoot, man, with the building costs and fees and waiting period. I mean, Edison's a whole nother story. There's another project over here. The rumor has it that, the boxes are up, the stores are up. They haven't built any of the insides yet, but supposedly Edison can't get power, and they don't know when they're going to get power to these things. I had another builder of mine put 2 houses out in Sycamore Rocks area. I want to say he had these things completed for a year. Couldn't get them occupied because he had no power. So it's crazy that we're trying to move to this whole solar, electricity only, no gas for our new constructions. We can't hook up to natural gas anymore. It's got to be all electric, but yet we can't get no power. So it's like, what the hell are we doing?
Yeah, unintended consequences.
It's unbelievable.
That is crazy.
That's unbelievable. So it's all kinds of weird things.
So market this year, I mean, you're building a few. You're not overdoing it.
Yeah, I don't want to get stuck with anything, man. That's the last thing I need is some 2,100 square footers with RV garages rental. I don't think so.
All right. So last thing, and this has nothing to do with your professional side. You're very accomplished at all the things you do. Let's talk about what you're not accomplished at, which is ranching. I got a report from an officer that he saw you on the road. Do you want to tell us what he saw you doing?
Oh, man, it was a disaster. But long story short, man, I was hauling some longhorns down to my buddy Lee's
Longhorns, like the cattle.
Longhorn
with
cattle, yeah, big old
the
horns.
thing.
And remember, the cows, the females, have longhorns, and the bulls have longhorns. So longhorn, both.
Where'd you get them?
I got, one of them I got from Lee back in the day, but I'm keeping that one up there. But I had 3 other ones I got out of Lucerne Valley.
Okay.
So
They're at your ranch.
Yeah, my ranch up in Apple Valley. So I had these friggin' cows up there, and there's a sale coming up actually next week on the 18th down in Chino, Corona.
And people who don't know you, pretty much anything you buy, you're going to sell very proximate to when you buy it. Like you can't wait to sell it.
Yeah.
You want to get it and then get rid of it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, always. Yeah, I don't like nothing too much long term. But so I had these cows. So anyways, I was bringing them down. So I brought this one, brought the bull down. That was a disaster. But I brought the cow down, and that darn thing was. I don't know if it opened the gate itself, but anyways, I was going down Green Tree Boulevard, coming up and over the hill there, and I'll be darned if I didn't look in the rear. It was at night. It's about 9 o'clock at night. I look in the rearview mirror, and the damn horn's sticking up the back of the trailer. And I was like, that shouldn't happen. And I was like, no way. So I'm slowing down. I probably get to about 15 miles an hour, and I'll be damned if that longhorn didn't step out of the back of the trailer. Right on Green Tree Boulevard. And I was all, I about died. Cars swerving around, honking, lights are flashing. Thankfully, there was a cop about three cars behind, and he lights up the lights. The lights are going. People are all twisted up on the road. The longhorn stands up, man, and friggin' the lady that was parked right in front of this thing had to be dying, not knowing what the hell's going on. The longhorn standing up on Green Tree Boulevard, walks off the hill, off to the side, and so I call Lee. I'm all, Lee, you're not gonna believe this. The longhorn fell out on Green Tree Boulevard. And he's like, oh boy. So he's got 2 daughters that they jump on their horses and they come back around here. So he's like, hey, we're gonna bring this thing back over to Green Tree. He's like, you need to go stop traffic. 10 o'clock at night now. We go there, man, stop traffic in both directions. The longhorn's coming, and then turned around and bolted. So we had to leave it there overnight. We couldn't get the damn thing. We tried.
So you rested on it?
I was like, hey, we got to come back in the morning. We got to figure this thing out. So my buddy Brandon, my buddy Evan, we all were over there looking for this thing. So the next morning, my buddy launched his drone, and he's looking all over the place. We're driving all over hell, and we ended up finding that thing, and that damn thing almost checked itself into the freaking Victor Valley Hospital. It was over there by Hospital Hill. I was like, this thing's gonna check itself into the ER. Anyhow, it started horning the horses, it started charging me or whatnot, and we ended up cutting the hole in the fence, push it in there so it's down at Kemper Campbell Ranch.
That's where it's gonna stay?
For a little bit.
Are
it's
you
going to the sale next week.
Are you taking it?
No, hell no.
Oh,
no,
man.
Lee's taking a couple of them down there. So they're bringing in decent money, so I'm gonna get rid of those 2 yardards.
There it is. Well, hey, Mike Arias, Chicago title. If you need any advice other than ranching, you should look him up.
And see any cows roaming around, call me.
Yeah, and I look him up all the time. So, like I said, we want to do these to bring you interesting people who can give you perspective on the market, and it's not just anecdotal, something you learned at the bar. So, all right, we'll talk to you next time.
Thanks a bunch.